Uh, I don't know why that went right back into it. Um, we have a fantastic guest today. We're going to dive into some Staten Island football with Tottenville's head coach, legendary head coach, Coach Neville. We're really excited to talk to him and dive into one of PSAL's finest head coaches. Coach, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking some football.
I'll just run through quickly some of the records that Coach has had just over this last 5 years here. 11-2 in 2019. And I guess in COVID, you guys didn't play that year. 2021 9-3, and 23 he was 9-5, and 24 he's 8-4, and in 25 last year he was 12-1. Really, just has built a just phenomenal tradition. Well, continued a phenomenal tradition because when I was growing up in the early '90s, Tottenville was a powerhouse, and I know you joined Coach Munson's staff in 2001, played at Tottenville yourself from '85 to '88, so you played on some of those really great teams. So it's really cool to see that tradition that you've continued to be able to build over the years as Tottenville continues to be, one of the class schools of the PSAL and obviously in Staten Island. So it's great to have you on, Coach, and it's an honor to have you talking some football.
Yeah, like I said, thanks for having me. Thanks for the intro. Um, one thing when I played here, Tottenville wasn't a great program. Coach Munson really, when he came aboard, I believe in '92, he really flipped the script,
Right.
and we became, you know, a perennial team each year throughout his years, and then I just took it over it when he retired in 15. I took over in 16 and just kept the culture and tried to keep all the traditions that Coach Munson instilled in the program. And so far, it gets harder each year. It gets harder each year to keep the culture we developed. So just keep fighting and keep every year. Just the faces change, but the tradition and the culture stays the same. And it's worked for us over the course of between me and myself and coach over the course of over 30 years.
It's it's really well, first of all, in Staten Island, in New York City in general. Oh, Staten Island's a little different, obviously, than the rest of New York City. There's more of a football tradition there. It's always difficult in the New York City area building football programs just because of some of the inherent limitations. Staten Island has less of them because obviously there's a little more field space. Obviously, in Staten Island, it's obviously a little bit more suburban than the rest of New York City. Um, but what's really interesting is that how Tottenville and how you've been able to, and that obviously when Coach Munson was running the program, you really built it into like a program that people outside of Staten Island knew of Tottenville, and it's really interesting because there's so many great athletes in New York City, and but it's the way New York City's the public school is structured and the way the Catholic schools are structured. Like you said, it's always hard to continue to keep players, within the program and the other areas that they possibly go. So it's really um, especially because of educationally, sometimes people choose different things. So it's really a tribute to what you've been able to build, at Tottenville to have that success. And it was one thing to have that success. I would say, like in the '90s and early 2000s. Another thing to have it in an era where players can go, you know, wherever they
Yeah.
want now. You know what I mean? So. Um, that because that part has changed community wise in a lot of places, and part of it is because of college recruiting, and part of it is just obviously there's a lot more information, and people see this or they see that, and they think the grass is greener. So I think it's really great, and obviously last year having a 12 in 1 year, there's no doubt about it. What you've been able to do. Talk about a little bit, um, of some of the changes you've seen over the years uh, in the public schools and football program out in Staten Island, and what kind of some of the good and the bad, and the things that you've really had, challenges you've had to overcome over the years and continue to build the program.
Well, I think you touched on some of it. Today's day and age. Back when I first started, you would just coach who showed up in your building. And some years you would get some talent, and some years you wouldn't. And over the course of that 4 years, you would have to develop that talent. And some years, but it was basically who showed up. Now you got to go out and you got to get kids. You got to go out and you got to meet the eighth graders, the seventh graders. You got to recruit those kids. And then when you get a few of them, you got to keep them, So that's a challenge with the transferring. I like to say we'll get a few transfers, but the majority of our program are 4-year guys that we develop over the course of those
Right.
4 years. When you're dealing with Staten Island, you're on a little island, and there's 10 football programs here. So
Right.
you got those 10 schools are fighting for the same kids on Staten Island. So what separates Tottenville, I guess, the success we've had, the academics that we offer. We're lucky to have an administration that values sports, especially football.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting a multi-million-dollar field house being built outside right now, specifically for football. So we got all the bells and whistles. We got the 2 helmets, the 5 uniforms, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's the culture you develop over the course of time and maintaining it. But you have to put a good product out on the field. So, like I said, we have talent, but we develop kids. A lot of our kids never played ball before. So, and over the course of that
Right.
4 years, we have to make them football players. So, and that's what we do through the weight room, through spring ball and all that stuff. We never stop. We go 365, after the season ends. We usually give them a week, and then we're back in the weight room. So, and we're on vacation, we're in the weight room. There's a break, we're on the weight room. So there's no downtime. So we might get a week after school ends, and then we're back for summer workouts. And we use this time as football time. So we're coaching them up as far as scheme and everything, meeting, filming, everything. So we know that talent-wise, we're probably we're at anytime we play a team, we'll probably have less talent than the other team. So we have to use our advantages in summer, in the weight room, all this stuff, getting guys in the gym in the wintertime, going over things, and filming everything. We film everything. So I'm watching film.
It's so important.
Right now. And
Yeah,
we'll note it up, we'll
that's
get
so
it
key.
out. Yeah, so we got to do stuff like that to just stay relevant. That's the tough thing when you're in a program like this. You don't want to have a drop off.
Oh yeah,
you want to maintain the
because they'll
level.
turn and run. Right, they'll turn and run. And coach, I think that's so important that when you touch on some of those things, right? But that's the culture that you've built around it, right? Like those guys, they have the expectation that look, we're probably not going to be the biggest when we go to an opponent. We're not going to be the fastest. Like we're not going to have all the belt. Like we're not going to be the wow guy with all the scholarships and all of this or all of that, right? But like we can always go back to what we are and who we are, and that is that we're going to outwork you. Right. We've put in way more time than you have, right? All of those kind of things. And with success in doing that, I think that in itself, I always tell guys like winning breeds winning, right? So even when you have a down year, your team goes down 14-0. It's just like, all right, we're good. We've been in this situation before, guys. Like we don't lose games. right? So I think that in itself, building that culture, right, is so pivotal to having that mindset for these guys to, hey, we'll roll into anywhere, anytime, and we'll rock.
That's it.
Talk about, or
And
talk
then
about a little bit of
got to
that.
be tough. Yeah,
Right.
we just preach toughness, and being mentally tough, being physically tough. We're not going to take a backward step. We usually schedule non-league games where we're at a disadvantage, and like I said, we're not going to roll over. We're not going to roll over. We're going to just keep coming at you, and that's what we preach. Whether you're here in a weight room session or spring ball, or it's practice for a championship game, I'm the same guy. So I'm
Right.
going to be screaming. I'm going to be yelling. I'm going to be demanding. I'm still a old school coach. So I know one way of doing things. I was taught one way to do things, and I don't believe in you got to change with the times and all that stuff. This is an old school program built on toughness. We've always been undersized, so the kids got to be tough, and so that's the mindset we have. And as long as I'm here, we're going to have it, and I'm sure whoever takes over when I'm done is going to continue it, because that's the only way we could have success as far as being a relevant program.
Right. And I think with that, coach, in being that way as a coach, right? Like we always talk about, guys, you coach the way you were coached, right? Like that's kind of how it is, right? Because that's just what you know, and that's how you go about it. In today's times, right? Like everybody wants to change this or change that or adapt and whatnot. In order for you to still be successful, you have to be who you are and what the program is. But that's, to me, the hardest part of that is probably getting being vertically aligned from the top down in terms of administration and all that. And you touched on it a little bit of how those guys really care about sports at Tottenville. So how important is that overall success of the program, knowing that, people that, that the school itself supports it, right? Because that's important. And I think you can't win without everybody being on the same page. So, Tottenville understands like football matters, and this is the way it's done, and this is how we go about it. So talk about that a little bit, just how like the entire building and those guys kind of support you guys within the program itself.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it comes from the top. So you start with the principal, who just, she loves football. She was an athlete in high school.
So important.
So she loves football. So she's big supporter at every game, home and away. Gets upset when we lose. Question some things I do, which,
there you go.
Like any fan.
That's a good administrator, though.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The AD, same way. He's more of tell me what you need, tell me how I could help the kids, anything I could do that's going to make the kids better or make it. Everything he does is for the kids. So, like I said about the field house that's being built, the principal was instrumental in getting that done, along with our alumni. We have a strong alumni, but the principal really pushed to get that groundbreaking done, and that should be done in about a year or so. And that's going to be a game changer, because you're looking at a state-of-the-art locker room, state-of-the-art weight room, meeting rooms for a team meeting room, coach's office. So that's going to be a game changer. We're getting a Jumbotron put out there now. All these things that I couldn't back when it comes to football. Do they really matter to me? But I guess in today's day and age, they matter to everybody else.
There's no doubt. So, there is no doubt. And I'm looking at some of the renderings here. My goodness, coach, like that, this looks unbelievable. Will this give you the best facilities on Staten Island?
I never want to say that, because somebody's always
somebody will just one up you.
Yeah,
somebody will just one up you.
Yeah, but it's going to be great for not only the football team, but every athletic program in the building. But I'm going to make sure that I plant my flag there first, because, like I said, the alumni was really instrumental in trying to get this done for over 20 years, and the principal really really made it a main point to get this done.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah,
It's gonna look beautiful. There's no doubt. And like you said, in this arms race of what is, Staten Island, and you're competing for kids. Like, look, again, I work for a head coach that does this stuff doesn't matter, right? Like to him, like uniforms, that shit don't matter, right? Like, let's just go play ball. But like, as an assistant, I gotta bridge that gap and be like, coach, like this shit matters. Like we have to do a little bit of something, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to coach. You just show your face and stand there and you'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like, and we'll handle all this nonsense that like, you know what I mean? Which look, I'm a little old school, new school. It's like, but I understand, like, for what this social media age is, you got to do some of these things, whether it's uniforms, facilities, for one, at the high school level. Look, there's so much red tape at public schools. It's funding here, budgets this, right? Like, if you can get that alumni base to come in and just support it and be like, hey, we are all in on this because we know it's important, like that just cuts out so much of the middleman and so much hassle and all that stuff that can get it done. And we've seen it done here in Jersey. Del Barton School a couple of years ago put a huge, weight room facility, like same thing. You're talking meeting rooms, all that stuff, like $23 million facility in one of their end zones. And it just changed it, right? Like it just changed the name of the game for it. So this stuff does matter.
Yeah. And you think about how far we've come. So when I coached here with Coach Munson, kids weren't even allowed to wear a pink armband or a pink sock on Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now I have pink uniforms for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Right.
I remember Augustus Edwards getting off the bus, Gus, who played in the NFL, went to University of Miami, getting off the bus with pink gloves on, and Coach Munson telling him, if those gloves don't come off, you ain't playing.
And he was dead serious. And he was serious.
He wasn't going to play. He was not going to play.
He didn't care, man.
And now I'm running out there with pink uniforms on. In October, we weren't even allowed. The kids weren't even allowed to wear visors back when Coach Munson.
No, I get it. Listen, Coach, I come from a very.
Coach comes to a game a few years ago. Why are kids wearing visors? Coach, if I don't let a kid wear a visor, they're going to be wearing it down the block.
Right.
I got to give a little bit.
Right. And listen, it's very familiar to me because I come from a very traditional, small high school up in North Jersey, very traditional. Like you were saying, I think I was the first guy to wear like gloves on a regular basis. And I'll never forget getting pulled into the office after a practice, right, for having worn gloves. And my head coach telling me like, look, if you're going to wear gloves, you're going to do it this way, right? Like you're going to wear them all day, every day. You're never going to take those things off. They're not going to be hanging from your helmet or in your pant. They're going to be on your hands and you're going to wear. And I was like, okay, like shit. I just thought I was going to be wearing gloves. Like I wasn't trying to look pretty or anything. I just wanted to wear some gloves. But it's a very, and where I'm at now is a very traditional program too. Brick Township High School, Warren Wolf, one of the winningest head coaches in New Jersey State history, right? Like at one point, the guy was the mayor of the town, the principal, the head coach. Like he ran the roost and won a lot of games there. So it's a very traditional program. And I always joke, like, if we went and changed the helmets, like there'd be burning crosses on people's front lawns. Like that's just like the type of place that it is. So I totally understand it. But it's worked, right? Like it's worked for the program and it's worked for your guys and they kind of buy into it. And in the arms race that is, it's crazy to think of high school football being like college where the transfer portal and all this stuff, but everything trickles down, right? Like, and whether it's, and we've talked to a lot of guys around the country where it's obviously there's state to state rules based on transfers and how things go and that. But it is incredible to think that some guys would be at, 3 high schools in 4 years or 4 high schools in 4 years, like whatever that is. Right. But you look at the college game now and this is what those guys see, and parents are different, right? There's not that knack to like, hey, fight, stick it out. Just because you're not the starter doesn't mean that you won't ever be the starter, right? Like just because you can go somewhere and think the grass is greener, like that's not the case, So you just build those guys up and you go to it. You talked about your off season a little bit, Coach. Like how does it work your off season? What goes into it? do you have a lot of multi-sport guys that do other things, and how do you handle those? What does your off season look like? Obviously you're always, for the most part, playing late into the season, right? So you're usually ending a lot later than some of us. I've had to do Halloween the last 2 years with my kids, and that's the most miserable thing ever. Like, I don't want to be trick-or-treating. I'd rather be at practice. That's just how I look at it, right?
Yeah.
So how do you handle your off season with your guys? And what's like participation like? Like, what are your numbers like within there?
Yeah, so again, it goes back to having a good administration where we're able to get the majority of our guys in their last period class, which is their phys ed class. So we'll get about 85% of them there, and we'll be lifting 5 days. They'll be there 5 days a week. So 4 days is a lift, days a mobility session. And I'm lucky enough to have my defensive coordinator is also a certified strength and conditioning coach and a PE teacher. So he teaches that, Coach Sarno. So I'm lucky there. And the guys that can't get into the class due to scheduling, right, the younger guys, the JV guys, the freshmen. So like I said, we'll go 2 weeks after the season's out, and we'll go all the way. So if it's a lift day and we're on spring break, they're going to be here lifting. They know it's mandatory, voluntary, it's voluntary, mandatory type of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We know how that works.
So you want to get in my doghouse, don't show up to lifts, and you'll be in my doghouse. But and the kid, like I said, the kids get it. Everybody's got to wear the same uniform. You don't have the uniform on, you're out. So if you forgot your shirt, you forgot this, you're done. So you don't come into my weight room and you see guys wearing, tank tops and earrings. No, everybody's dressed the same. And it starts there, the little things. So we really focus on little things. I focus on little things because little things become big things. And so that's where our discipline starts, and it just continues. So, like I said, do I have issues? Of course.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
But kids are harder than others. But that's part of the game we play, or we're part of.
No doubt. What about multi-sport guys? How many of those guys do you have within the building that play other sports? Because it's always, it's the first question that every college coach asks when they walk in our building, right? Or they're looking at a guy and it's, hey, what other sports does he do? Or, I know that for the school that I'm at, like, if our best players, our best football players aren't doing other sports, those other sports aren't going to be doing very well, because there's just not that many athletes within the building where those guys could specialize and only play one sport. And if they do, it is what it is. But, we really push guys to do multi-sports and go participate in some of those things to help and just for themselves too, right? Because the overall athlete is better than a specialization in my eyes any day of the week. But do you have a lot of multi-sport guys?
Yeah, well, I definitely promote it. I want the big guys to wrestle. You play basketball, you play basketball. You play lacrosse, you play lacrosse. You run track. The only thing I ask is if you could lift. Like, if you don't have a game, you have practice, you should be getting your lift in. If you're a track guy, you should be doing a track lift. So they still get their lifts in. Of course, if they have a game, I tell them not to lift. But they're still in the weight room, still doing it, but they're participating in multiple sports. We have guys on track, guys that wrestle. We have guys who play lacrosse, baseball. So we have all that. So yeah, that's welcome. I'll never tell a kid you got to focus only on football, because I think wrestling is great for anybody that plays football. Track is track, of course. And, so I promote that stuff. So, and again, we got a pretty good overall athletic program here. I mean, our teams are pretty good. I wish more kids would play lacrosse. I know the principal does too, because she feels more football players should be playing. But again, I'm not forcing kids to do anything, but if they do it, all I ask is on those practice days when you have a lacrosse practice at, say, 5:00, that you're lifting before practice. And if they do that, we're fine. Again, I see these kids every day. So, can't really hide from me. You can't hide.
They
so.
try though. They sure as hell try.
They
They
do
try.
They do try.
But it's also, Coach, I think for you're not. I'm sorry, Dave. I just want
No,
to finish
go
one
ahead.
point. Like I'm just having that last block or that last period where guys they have phys ed, so they're lifting. You're not having to force guys to either, come at 5 a.m. or before school to get a lift in if they're a multi-sport guy, or, come in the afternoon and then have to rush to practice or have to balance of like, I'm not going to get my lift in because I have to go to practice. Like, just by default, you're already eliminating so much of the issue that is why or why not guys don't play multi-sports, because you got to get a lift in. Like, that already gets eliminated for you, which is unbelievable, and goes back to administration. And again, we've talked to coaches throughout the country, right? And it's a staple in Texas, right? Or, there's different states that do it different ways, and they're more successful just because that stuff is already built into the school day. It's not looked at as two separate entities of, school and then extracurricular activities and sports, right? Like, they're all intertwined where you're part of your school schedule is your sport, and it's promoted and it's ultimately rewarded, right? In a way, or, it's not just, oh, we're going to like give you, hey, kudos over the announcements in the morning. Like, no, dude, like, this is part of the program, and you doing things like that help everybody for the good of the group, right? Because now that basketball guy that's not working, that would never normally be working out, is working out because he has to. It's part of his school schedule. You know what I'm saying? So it just, the overall philosophy of it, it's just, to me, it's just like an easy fix of like, just do it this way and it's watch and reap the benefits. But it's just so not in certain places. Obviously here in Jersey, it is not, right? Like, there are very few schools that do it that way. You're actually playing one this year. You're going to open up with Coach, he's opening up with Rumstead Fairhaven as well. And Coach, that's how they structure it. Like that is a big thing within their school system, right? Like they all lift within the school day. It's not an after, it's whatever, because they're all, a lot of them do other sports and whatnot, so the programs like that we've seen just consistently win over and over and over, and it's because of the structure. And it's when you're not on the same page, right, and you got guidance counselors that just like, they don't understand the process of hey, this guy's trying to go to school here, so he needs to take these courses. And it's, well, not just, oh, let's go plug them in some elective that doesn't matter, right? Or where, Villanova is going to come in and look at a transcript and say, what the hell is this class, right? Like, he's got a 3.0, but he's got a 3.0 in freaking, like Sark just said for Texas, basket weaving, right? You can go to Ole Miss and be a major in basket weaving, right? Yeah. But some of those, it's just like, some of that stuff is just, you'd think it's an easy fix, but it's so interesting to see how guys don't do it that way. And have you guys always done it? Like, when did that kind of start? When did you start incorporating that 85% of your guys have phys ed so they can get a lift in during the day? Because I'm so enamored by that.
That was since I've been here. Coach Munson used to teach the class because Coach was a phys ed AP. So that was the one class he would teach at the end of the day. And we were lucky we had that year round. It was just every day they would meet and lift in the off season. We're even able to do it now because in Doran season, those kids have a free ninth period. So we're able to get in the weight room before practice a few days a week and get our lift in. But again, that comes from administration. If you have an administration that will listen to you, because, we need to do this. There's 4,000 kids in the building. Programming is not an easy task here, but the administration.
How many, Coach? You said 4,000 kids in the school?
There's about 4,000 students here, yes.
So that obviously would be one of the biggest high schools in Jersey, right? Like, obviously, right? Like, and we're obviously, you're familiar with Jersey because you've played it. They're grouped, right? So group one is the smallest. That's where Dave and I played. We played at group 1 schools, right? I currently coach at a group 3. Group 5 is obviously the biggest, which is like what your classification is. I believe Manalapan is a group 4. Sometimes they go back and forth. Wall, I think, is a group 5 or a 4. Rumstead Fairhaven is going to be a group 2. So they're going to be on the smaller side of a team that you're playing. But I like
to say like the size in New York, when you deal in New York City, the size is really irrelevant because I'm lucky I can
Really?
get 50 guys that could walk and chew gum at the same time.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
So it's you would think it would be
What
easy to field a team, but
Oh, hell no.
it's not easy.
No, no doubt. No. And what do you usually carry numbers wise, coach, on your roster wise, like total?
50,
And do you have 50?
50
Do you have
on
3
the
levels?
varsity and 50 on the JV. So
Do you have a freshman team or no?
No. So the freshmen are mixed in with the sophomores on the JV. Here, like if our juniors don't play varsity, they can't play in JV games. So
oh, really? They can't play at all?
No. So they'll just play
Wow.
freshmen, sophomores play JV, juniors, seniors, and any younger underclassmen that I feel could play on the varsity will be up with us. But they, even if you're a freshman or sophomore and you're on my roster and you're a backup, I can't send you down and play JV. You're on the roster and
Wow.
Yeah, you got to, and I'll have probably a freshman on the varsity this year, and I'll probably have about 4 or 5 sophomores on the varsity this year that either it's to be seen yet if they can earn a starting spot. If not, they'll just be backups and they'll just get better through practice, and their time will come eventually.
Wow, that's a very interesting dynamic of how those guys can't play. You know what I mean? If they're not playing just based off of age, which is obviously very different because look, there are sometimes like there might be a senior that's not very good that like, hey, go play JV so you can just get in a game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, or things of that nature. And it's very interesting to see that you don't have freshmen. So when you're talking development wise, like practice for those younger guys is so pivotal. You know what I mean? Just development overall within it itself. How many staffers do you have coaches wise?
Yeah, well, varsity, and I'm lucky. I have a great staff, and these guys are all volunteers. So there's no school stipend that's coming for them. So they're basically here volunteering because they love ball, they love to coach, they love kids. So I'm lucky enough to have, I have every position, a position coach for every position. Which is and they're tremendous because like I said, I can't give them anything from school funds if you're not a school employee, and I'm only PSAL. You can only pay it. The head coach gets paid, the assistant head coach of varsity, and the JV coach. So there's 3 paid assistants.
Wow.
And the JV coach.
That's incredible, Dave. That's incredible. That is like, whoa. Like there would be no coaches here in Jersey. Like nobody would coach. Yeah. There's no doubt, especially having to be in an employee in the building. I know Texas does it like that. Like if you want to be an assistant coach, you have to be employed in the district or a teacher in the building, right? And it has to be that building too, right? Like it can't be like, I guess maybe a couple of them can work at like at the middle school within it and whatnot. So you only get 3, which is bananas.
And one's the JV head coach, so he has his team. And so basically varsity, it's me and one other guy that get paid. Everybody else is a volunteer. So
wow.
And that's become, back when I started coaching, I was a young kid and I didn't care. I just loved I wanted to be around football. Nowadays, there's no young kids coming to coach in the PSAL unless you can tell them, unless they want to be the paid guy. Nobody wants to volunteer their time anymore. So it's hard to find young guys, but I'm lucky enough where I have a group of men. They're men, so retired firefighters. I got some teachers that volunteer. So I'm lucky. Where, I got a former teammate that helps with that's a retired police officer. So I got a group of men and they're great coaches and they love Tottenville. They love football. They love kids. So I'm lucky, but I could easily, and I tell my parents club all the time because we try to give them a little stipend to pay them a little bit. I tell them all the time, without these guys, there's no time for football. It's just
no doubt,
screaming my head off.
There's no doubt.
So
no wonder it's so difficult for in New York City for public schools to have continuity because of the fact that you really do have to get volunteers to really be willing to help out and put their time in because there's not as many paid guys. Talk.
And just let me
Yeah.
add
Yeah.
this point too. And you talk about the PSAL, and they make it difficult to get volunteers because I could have a retired police officer that did
Oh, and
25
he's got to
years.
get the fingerprints
He's
and
got to
do
get
all that shit.
fingerprinted. He's got to get
Yeah.
cleared. He's got to pay for his fingerprints. He's got to go down.
Yeah, and that's not
Has to
cheap
go down
either.
to Brooklyn, get
Yep.
Court Street, deal with traffic, deal with parking, pay $150 to have a volunteer job. So it wasn't like, oh, he's an NYPD cop. No, he still has to get fingerprinted. So they actually make it super difficult, just to get a volunteer. So. The PSAL. Listen, I could say this. It's just a Mickey Mouse operation of the league.
It's so interesting though. It's so interesting. And look, we had the same thing here in Jersey. Like, we have a guy that volunteers. He's a cop, literally like in the town over, and he's like, "Wait, I have to do all that. Why can't I just show them my badge? Like, I literally am on the streets every night." And they're like, "No, you got to go get fingerprinted. You got to go through the process. You got to wait for your paperwork to come back." And that's just to be a volunteer. Like, that's not like they're cutting him a check. You know what I'm saying, or anything like that. It's just literally this guy's on the sideline, which is bananas, right? Because if you want to put the kids first, and look, Dave and I discussed this a ton. Like, it is hard to find assistants, let alone competent assistants, right? Like, if you're not a teacher with that type of schedule where you can be free from 2 to 7, or you know what I mean, or you're talking summer workouts where the time schedule is what it is, like, luckily that, law enforcement, or sometimes we'll get some firefighters or something like that. Like, their schedules are they can kind of skew it and do things like that. But it is really hard to find a guy that can be free from those times, in order to coach, unless you're in the building. It is very difficult to do it. Now, to throw in that, hey, you're not getting paid by any means, right? Like, that's a whole different shoes to fill. Like, that's just crazy to me. But like you said, you take care of them in other ways, and you're very fortunate, to have those guys that are bought in, because like you said, without those guys, I mean, it's literally just you trying to coach it all up. And look, I know you're a hell of a coach, but like, you need those guys.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. So when you guys have the weight room, are you the one that's in the weight room with them, or your head coaches, or
Yeah. So
your assistants? I mean,
my defensive coordinator is a head strength coach. He's also a phys ed teacher here.
okay.
So he's a certified strength coach. So he teaches the class, and I will make my way down there.
Got it.
My face is in there every day, but he gets it going. The workouts come from him, and I'm just there where I'm in there, but he's running the show. So
got it.
Interesting.
Do you how do you
nice
kind of
setup.
structure your strength and conditioning program? Like, what is it kind of rooted in, and like what are the biggest things that you're looking to get accomplished? Is it speed? Is it strength? Is it just a base level? What are you looking for those kids?
Yeah, well, that has changed, since the days. I mean, we used to go in there and bench and back squat and deadlift. Now there's a progression to everything we do, where we start, where we finish. So we're trying to build an athlete, not necessarily be a power lifter or a bodybuilder. So we're a lot of Olympic lifts. We bench, but only once a week. But we'll do a lot of functional movements on Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday there'll be a lifting program where we're doing a lot of dumbbells on certain days. But it's a lot of cleans. We'll front squat. We do a lot of front squat. We do a lot of one-legged stuff. Just a lot of jumping. A lot of we'll be doing a lot of plyos, mixing plyos in there. A lot of band stuff. So we're just trying to build a better athlete. We're not necessarily, and the kids get strong. We'll max them once a month. Kids like that. They like to keeps them motivated. They love seeing their numbers go up. So the way we max is, we used to max weight 1 rep. We don't do 1 rep anymore. We'll do, there'll be a bench, 135, 185, 225. And how many are you going to get? What bench you going to go on? if whatever bench you pick, you got to get 3. So if you get 2, there's a team penalty after we're done. So, the goal is to get everybody on that 225 bench by the end of June.
Right.
So that's been successful for us. The kids like that. And like I said, once a month, we'll do that before we do our we'll have a max day. So like I said, we used to do it the other way. I felt guys could get hurt that way. Guys throwing on like 315.
100%.
Yeah.
We've done the same. We've switched it from the exact same thing. Like we don't want that 1 rep max of, look, that sophomore who thinks he can do whatever because all the other guys are doing it and wants to look a certain way. And now it's, he's dropping it on his chest or whatever it is. We've gone to a rep minimum type of situation. And then we'll correlate the max based off of an algorithm that we've put together. And, we'll post it on the wall and whatnot. And those guys love it. Whenever you record, rank, and publish that stuff, right? Like anytime anytime you put them on a list, those guys just do things different. But the 1 rep max guys were getting hurt, you know what I mean? Like they're putting themselves in not real good situations. It's like, all right, let's police this on our own so that we can really get what we want out of it.
Yeah, and you get a guy going from like 135. Now they can do 185 for 3. That's a big deal for them, Yeah. And you got to get 3. So you can't jump on the 225 bench and get 1.
And just struggle it out.
The whole team's doing 10 burpees. So if we have 3 penalties, that's 30 burpees after. So these guys, but you also can't get on a 135 bench and max it out for like 25. And you aren't tough enough to get on the 185 bench. So again, it's part of the culture we're building, part of their mindset, what they got to do, what they got to believe in yourself. You better get it for 3. You better believe in yourself. So, again, it's worked out for us the past couple of years. And like I said, I see kids getting stronger because I record everything. So, and I'll tell them last week you got this month you got that. So,
they know. I'm sure they know, Coach. I'm sure they know.
And the weight room don't lie. So if you aren't putting in work, it's on you. So we'll know how hard you were. You could have been in the weight room, but maybe you weren't. Maybe you were.
No doubt. Did we lose Coach for a second?
You might go up 1 or 2 reps.
There you go.
So
right. And those reps matter, like those 1 or 2
Absolutely.
reps. And we talk about it constantly with those guys. Like, don't compare yourselves to others. Like, just look at your performance, man. If you came in here in December and you could barely push the bar off your chest, and now you're at 135, like, buddy, like you're already like, look at yourself. Don't compare yourself to others because I just need the best version of you as a player, right? Like, I don't need something that you're not. Like, just give me everything you have and we'll work from there. But, it's hard with those younger guys because they all want to fit in. They all want to be able to put a plate on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like, hey, like, let's just take a look at this from your perspective and look at where you're going, where you're getting, how much better you're going to be by doing it this way, things of that. And they buy in eventually, but it takes some time.
Absolutely. And, a great part of being a coach is seeing that development in the weight room.
That's the best part about it is seeing that scrawny little freshman come in and change. Oh yeah, you see their bodies start to change a little bit. They hit that puberty stage, right? Yeah. Finally, they start shooting up. They get a vein here or there. You know what I'm saying? Like now you're catching them looking in the mirror. You're like, buddy, like
Absolutely.
no, it's really good for their confidence overall, and it brings your team up. Right. Like, because if that, that weakest quote, if that quote weakest guy is stronger and just overall, like, and you talked about the culture of your team, like that's what you're built on, right? Like this is where we get our wins in December, right? Is when we're pushing through some of these things. And I'm sure it's a good culture within the weight room, right? Like you said, they're all dressed the same, they're focused, it's not a screw around period. Guys aren't on their phones listening to this or trying to do that. Like, no. This is business. This is strictly business. Get in here, get your work done, and we'll get gone. So it's important to build that culture.
And I let them know everything I need to know about you. I'm going to find out in the weight room. We're not even going to have to go on the field because I'm going to know everything about you just from watching you in the weight room. So, and that holds true, every year that holds true. So if you're going to quit, you're probably going to quit on the field. If you're going to not be reliable in the weight room, you're not going to be reliable on the field. So That's one quote. Coach Munson used to say that, and that still holds true to this day.
No doubt about it. It's a key aspect to be able to succeed. They got to be part of the culture. They got to be willing to do what they have to do. I like that you have them making sure they come in the way that you want them to come in order to get the program done. Is there is there like so you're gonna play Middletown of Delaware this year? You're gonna play Rumson. Um, what's your thoughts on now starting to go out of state and play some other programs? What's the thoughts behind that?
Well, the PSAL, they allow us to play two non-league games, so you could play or you could scrimmage. I choose to play. They don't give us a lot of time. It's not like they give us extra time. We'll
No,
start August 16th, and I'm
play a
going
game.
out, I believe, August 28th to play. If that's the Thursday, I'm going out to play Rumson on 12 days practice, basically. So we're behind the eight ball there. And then the following Thursday, I'm driving out to Middletown. I don't even know when they start football, but I'm sure it's earlier than we do. My thoughts are, the kids want to play games. I want to coach games. So we're going to play. If we have an opportunity to play, or if I have an opportunity to scrimmage, I'm rather going to play a game.
Right.
We'll always schedule games where we're at a disadvantage. We're always going to be at a disadvantage based on where we play football. But I don't really look at those early games. Of course, we want to be successful, but if we lose a game, that's fine. I just want to see us line up. How can we line up right? That week 0, can we line up? Can we block? Can we tackle? That's what we're looking for weeks. And of course, over the course of about 48 minutes, we're competing. How's
Yeah.
our competition level? So the score, of course, we want to win, but that's really irrelevant. And then I usually have a tendency to schedule games that are going to be very difficult. So there's one year we went out and played St. John's Collegiate in Washington, D.C. I knew we had no chance, but let's see how we compete. We could, the next year we flew out to Tennessee and played Alcoa, who's one of the best programs in Tennessee. Again, on about 12 days practice. Let's see how we compete. Let's see, are we tough? Are we going to back down? We got clobbered both games, but we wound up having successful league seasons. Last year, we played two tough teams, Manalapan and Wall.
Oh God, yeah.
Two close games, two competitive games. I knew coming out of those two games we'd be pretty good in our league, and they helped us prepare us for our league. So again, I'm not really looking for easy W's in the game. In those games, I'm looking for tough games that we're probably behind the eight ball a little bit, going out there and playing. And this year's team, we lost a bunch of guys. We're replacing pretty much the whole defense. We're replacing a 4-year starter at quarterback. We're replacing a Division I running back. So we got a lot of things to do, a lot of work to do. And when we get officially started and able to put a helmet on and the shoulder pads on, we got 12 days before we go out to Rumson. So again, it's going to be a great evaluation for the coaches, a great. I just want to see us compete, line up right, tackle, and I'll start thinking about, are these games, from what we do in these games, how will we be in league play? Because I think we'll be a better team week 0. We'll be a better team week 8 than we are week 0. So
no doubt.
It's really cool to see what you guys are doing, taking that next step and like challenging your guys to really compete. And I love the philosophy because you now when they go play teams in the PSAL, like they already know what it's like to compete against some really good players and some really good teams, and they're more prepared for their own competition. And now it's like, okay, well, we've already seen some really great players, So now let's buckle in on what we got to do here, and we're going to have a great chance to be champions within the PSAL. Well, last question, I was curious because I'm always confused by this: state championships in New York State. Is Long Island and New York City a part of that, or they're not? I was always confused by how that all works.
Yeah, no. New York City, our goal every year is to win the New York City
Got
PSAL
it.
championship. We're not eligible to participate in states based on again, you would have to speak to like the league. Why? I believe it's because our league, we start in August. Our PSAL championship game isn't until like usually the first weekend in December.
Got it.
So I believe it's how many games we played. I believe you can only play 13 games, and then you got insurance issues and all that stuff. Again, that's our goal every year is, to win the PSAL championship. We haven't been successful doing that in a long time, but every year that's our goal. So.
Very interesting. I was always curious about that because I always wondered, like, why did they not go and play at that and that kind of thing. But now you've cleared that up in about 10 seconds for me. which took a long time. I always wondered for all these years. I'm like, I never understood why. And like in New Jersey, you never get a straight answer because nobody really understands. So.
Yeah, we have some great teams in our league.
Yeah.
Erasmus Hall is
Yes.
a top
Yeah,
notch
coach,
team.
your league is hammers. Like they would, like that's one of the like those teams are good. Like they're put
we got
together.
Erasmus. You got Curtis. You got Erasmus. You got Lincoln High School. Now you got a team, Eagle Academy. I mean, you got all these teams that could play ball. And
what is that? A charter school, Eagle Academy?
Like I don't know what they are actually. They're public, private. I don't know. Couldn't tell you, but you got these teams. There's a lot of players.
Right. In New York, coach, do publics and privates play in the same playoffs? Like, are they all lumped together as one, publics and privates, or is it separate?
No, so you got the public league, and that's it. Public New York City schools and Catholic schools, so they play separate. There might be a non-league Catholic public. Like this year, Curtis is playing St. Peter's of Staten Island.
Right.
So that could happen based on scheduling.
Right. If they want to do it.
Different leagues.
Yeah, see, that's what's different. Like here in Jersey, right? Obviously, like when it comes to playoff time, and obviously, like, the privates that are the bigwigs, like up north or even down by us, you got Red Bank Catholic who played Middletown last year on a home and home type of deal where they did 2 years against each other, or St. John Vianney that's down by us here. Like once they get to playoff time, like they're in their own separate, like they just go and battle it out with each other. But look, you look at some other states like Florida where they're all lumped together, where you got private schools, public schools. Like when they get to the playoffs, like it is what it is. You're a 5A team, you're playing a 5A team. Like it is, it's just kind of how it works. So it's been what's cool about this podcast too, and talking to coaches from all over, kind of seeing how each state to state does it, right? And kind of like, how it works out in terms of who plays who and playoffs and all that kind of stuff. Like it's really interesting to look at. But again, and I talked to you about it off air, right? Like the New York setup of Long Island, the city, upstate New York, right? Like state championships are played in the Dome, but it's like, well, New York is this, like New York City is something separate, or that it's like, it's just so interesting to me kind of how they set it up, and with not being able to start until that certain date in the grand scheme of things, like for you, right? Like that's hard. I mean, you're talking 12 days of practice and you're going to go dial it up with a team that's probably been practicing for an extra 2 weeks or a whole nother week before you. And I don't think parents or other people that are just kind of fans of it understand what that extra time does in terms of preparation, so it really kind of goes into how you structure your summers. And And Coach, I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I was just curious, how do you structure your summer? What does your summer look like for your guys? Like how many days a week do you go? Are you on the field? What do you do?
Yeah, so we'll go. I think this year we're starting July 13th. So we'll go, and it's 4 days a week. It's 3 to 6, and we, again, you talk about not starting officially. We need those days.
Yeah.
So we need those days to actually practice. There's supposed to be conditioning, but we have to, do some things football related wise. My goal is every year by the end of that program is we could go out and play a game. If we just put helmet and shoulder pads on right now, we could go out, line up, and run some plays, play a little defense, line up right on defense. That's my goal. So that time is like so important for us now that we're playing games so early. And again, just to like have some type of just to try to get on even playing fields with some of these teams that we play.
Right. Structure, all those kind of things. You know what I mean? Because look, obviously every team here in Jersey does it different. You guys get 20 days in the spring. We don't get any time in the spring. Like we can't start football until the tournament or the track season ends, where it's, kind of their tournament of champions type thing, like their last meet, which is usually around what is it, Dave? Like second week in June, somewhere there, give or take, where track ends. Second, third week in June, somewhere around there, maybe first week.
Yeah,
right.
depends.
So, I mean, and then you can and then depending on your program, like whatever you do, and then every school in the state, you have to have a mandatory dead week within the summer. Where you put that, that's on you. Some guys will do it the week before they put pads on officially. Some guys use, 4th of July week because it's whatever. But you have to have a mandatory week off in the summer where you can't even open in the weight room. Like it's nothing. Like you can't even get them there. Kids are itching to get there, and it's like, buddy, this is our dead week, So it's just so different in the way we do.
Isn't there a day that you can't practice? Isn't there Sundays? You can't practice Sunday also when you start too. Is that a thing?
It is. Well, you can't do a certain number of days in a row.
Gotcha.
Now look, and you also like the days of doubles, triples, like that shit is long gone, right? But I mean, look, and I don't really think that's conducive to what that really is anyway. But I sure as hell would love to go a hard session in the morning. Hey, go feed them, and let's come back in the afternoon and do a walkthrough, or let's like get on the board, or let's get in the classroom, or do some of those things, right? Where you can kind of structure it and go. And we do things a little different for our summer too, is we go in the mornings, we go like 7 a.m. to usually around 10:30, something like that, where they're in the weight room, and then we'll get out on the field. And then, our freshman team will come in an hour after the older guys, so that once the older guys are out of the weight room, they can go get in the weight room, and we kind of go back and forth with it. That way also the varsity staff can work with the freshman staff a little bit. Like that's kind of where we do it different than others. And also I have a bunch of guys that like they work in the summer, like they're lifeguards. So, they got to be on the beach by 10 a.m. And it is what it is. I know they're getting a little beach workout and they love that stuff too, but it's part of the culture that's within our program. And we kind of have to adapt to that, like we have a lot of kids that work. So in order to get the amount of guys that we need, right, to be there and be held accountable, like we got to go in the mornings, which, hey, that's all fine and dandy, but believe me, it is a different beast with some of the, who's leaving because they got, there's a group that like, hey, if we're still in the middle of a, like we got to get our stuff in early on in practice, in the setup of it, because these guys got to leave at a certain time to get to the beach. You know what I'm saying? And there's a really good relationship too there with the guys that they work for, like the lifeguarding and all that kind of stuff. Cause it's been basically like, they want good kids who are accountable too. Right. Yeah. So, hey, the football guys, they understand that stuff. And then it's kind of like a whole culture thing with that's within, which is cool too. Right. But damn, I'd sure as hell love to have those guys for a lot longer time, or have something structured in the spring where, I mean, look, like you can't do any football related anything with these guys, in terms of a coach and players on a field, even in a gym. Like I can't even shoot jugs at them. You know what I mean? Like that is a no-go. They kind of structure it themselves. The culture that we're at, this will be year 3, where those guys will go and get together on their own and throw or do some skill stuff like on their own. We'll kind of hey, like go do this, right? Like here's the structure to it. But and to me, that's the tell of a really good team is when those guys start basically coaching themselves, right? I mean, look, when we were in school, it was captain's practice, right? Where those guys would go and do things. But to have that overall actual structure of even you guys getting to go out there for 20 days in shorts and a t-shirt, I think there's just so much promise to that. And why it'll never happen here in Jersey, no matter how much you fight for it, no matter how much they try and curtail it, or hey, you can do this but not this. It's just they just won't. It's just not what it is. It's not like other states. So I get like, it's awesome that you guys even have 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
No doubt. Well, Coach, it's been great having you on. Best of luck this summer and have a great season. You guys are doing great things. So we'll be looking for those first 2 games, see how everything stacks up. You know what I mean? And
absolutely, Coach. Absolutely.
It'll be a ton of fun. And if you ever need anything, reach out anytime. We really, really enjoyed talking to you, and obviously much continued success. You do a fantastic job.
Thank you both, guys. I appreciate you having me. Appreciate you letting me talk a little bit about Tottenville football, and best of luck to you guys too over the course of the year.
All right.
Thanks,
have
Coach.
a great weekend.
Appreciate it. Enjoy, buddy.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
You too. Man, that's wild, huh? How about the assistant coaches? Like, don't getting paid through the wow, dude.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
That's pretty.
Imagine that. Imagine putting together your staff.
Whew. And be like,
you better have some loyal boys.
Yeah, you'd almost have to have guys that played there.
Yeah,
I think.
You gotta have guys that love it, or young guys that are trying to get into it and work, and are, like you said,
doesn't seem like he has a lot of young guys. It seems like he's got mostly
probably
guys
his guys.
Yeah. Wow, that's a different.
Well,
that's
I mean, look, he's had a ton of success. Obviously, I think the whole last block of the day is phys ed, and you're in your lift in with your DC, who's the strength guy. Like, that's huge, right? Like, 4,000 kids in a school is just, holy God, dude. That's like unbelievable to even look at or think of. You know what I'm saying? Like, holy moly. And look, if you looked at any of the renderings for that field house that they're putting in, man, like, damn, those facilities are going to be unbelievable. Like, that's really awesome. Obviously, to in today's arms race that is, and in the world of hey, making sure we keep guys coming here and doing those types of things. Cause Coach touched on it, 10 schools on Staten Island. Like, that's a lot, you know what I mean? In a small area that's pulling for the same dudes, so you got to find some way to separate yourself in terms of what that is.
No doubt.
But man, it's incredible always to talk to guys and hear kind of how their states or their leagues do certain things. Like, it's like, hey, we're in this for the kids. It's like, well, are you? Like, you know what I mean? Like
I don't know how they expect to have success, but they do. But it's got to be a lot harder. I mean, yeah, it must be There's lot harder to have success without having that kind of a deal. So, yeah, man.
I love the old school that he still is too, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's definitely old school. But he's got a good. He's updated though. He's still updated.
He gets it. He gets it. Like I'm sure he understands how to quote unquote play the game, right? Like, if this guy's got to wear a visor, you wear a visor. Like, say it.
There's no doubt. I mean, I think there's no other way. I mean, we can't wear visors in New Jersey, I don't think.
You can wear clear ones. You can't wear tinted.
Oh, you can?
Color.
You can wear clear.
Yeah,
okay.
You can wear clear. It has to be 100% clear. It can't have any type of tint or any of that nature.
Okay.
You have to it is. But I mean, look, it also comes down to a little bit of how that stuff works in terms of like, what ref crew are you getting? Are they going to look at that stuff? Like, are they really going to look at it? And is it going to matter? Is it not? Is it, you know what I mean? Like, some guys harp on it. Some guys don't. It's really kind of just when you're in pregame, Are they going to be the guys that are, hey, pull your pants down over your knees, take off the eye black that can only be quote unquote one line, let me check that visor, you know, put your back pad in? Or are they guys that are just, you know, don't really care about it, right? Like it all depends on the crew. They're supposed to care about it, right? And it's supposed to be an emphasis on certain things. Take off your armbands, take off this. And I'm not talking play sheet armbands. I'm talking just, you know, sweatbands or whatever these guys want to rock. Some guys are just more in tune with that than others. And it's, you know, I tell guys, dress how you want within the rules, right? Like, you know what you're supposed to do, what you're not. If you want to take your eye black and smear it all the way down, okay. But if they say something to you in pregame, then you take it off. You don't like him and haw, like, oh, what do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. Like, you just do what you're told, right? So I don't know. I wish there was more uniformity when it came to it, no pun intended. But I mean, you try and get a pair of football pants now that go below the knees. You know, that's how they're cut. Like, those pants are cut like that to be almost above the knee. And it's what they see on Saturdays and Sundays. You know what I'm saying? So they want to do that stuff too. I get that a little bit because, you know, it is what it is. But hey, the rules are the rules, and you kind of got to roll with it. You know, the uniforms have to be, you know, true dark color and light color. You can't have like the gray or whatever it is where you can't see numbers and all that kind of shit. So, I mean, that's on us as a staff to put them in the proper attire to go and play. But, you know, guys are always going to try and tweak things or do whatever with it. It's just, you know, it's different. I just love the uniformity that he's, you know, you come in the weight room, bro, like, this is what you're wearing. It's like college. You know what I mean? Like, here's the issued stuff, wear it. Right? Like, this is what we give you, you wear it. Shorts and a t-shirt, wear it. No, keep your sleeves on, do this, do that. Like, again, the little things like that, I think, matter. They really do. I'm old school in that nature, that eventually you let all those things go, they're going to show up somewhere in a game where it's going to cost you, whether it be a penalty or something. Like, there's going to be some type of repercussion in terms of if you've allowed some of those little things to go. It's just going to happen. That's just kind of how I look at it. I mean, I think the little things always matter, but it's just my philosophy.
Absolutely. No doubt.
But got a pretty full week next week too. So we'll be back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, Friday. We're 5 days next week. So
that's good stuff, man. Love it.
Yeah, buddy.
Love it.
You got games this weekend for you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We got games. We have what do we have? I got track meet Sunday, got flag Sunday, got basketball game Saturday and today. So
God bless you, buddy.
Yeah. You know, so that's good. The basketball is fun. I mean, it's fun because we.
Are there rules? Like, do you have to play man? Do you have to play man to man? Do you have to, like, are there any rules within it? Like, are you allowed to press and do all that kind of stuff? Do you have to play certain types of defenses? Do you have to do any of that? Or is it, you can do whatever?
No, you can play whatever you want defensively. Yeah. You know, there's some of the leagues have rules on pressing, type of deal. So it's, I don't know. You know, each thing is a little different from that standpoint. But
right.
But for the most part, it's regular. You know, it's regular basketball. I mean,
do you play quarters or do you play halves?
Halves.
So what is it? 15-minute halves or 20?
20.
Oh, damn.
20.
Nice.
Yeah. 20 could be
that's coaching. That's different coaching. Yeah, you got to coach different 20-minute halves. It's different than 4 quarters. It's different that's different, bro.
You can't just run it. Like, you can run, but you can't run all the whole game.
You can't. You either got to start in it or go into it. I mean, in your head, you can kind of break it down into, you know, like, hey, this is like, you can almost break it down. I think that was part of the first game. The first game with 6 guys, that was part of it. We were running. Oh, that's tough. Yeah, they probably got like shot,
and we got a huge lead, but we really ran out of gas. So
do you get 3 timeouts per half?
3 timeouts, I think, in the game.
Got it. Because that's big too, right? Like you got to know when to use them things. They get on a little run and like, hey, subbing is tough, dude. Is it just you or do you have somebody else on the bench with you?
I
Or
had
is it
somebody else
only
with
you?
me. I
Yeah,
have
that
somebody
helps.
with. Yeah.
Hey, so-and-so's got 5 fouls to foul out.
Yeah, I think it's one of the leagues is 6 actually.
Woo!
And yeah,
That's nice.
and
Go bang.
yeah,
Go hit.
like you could pretty much, you're not gonna have a problem.
Right,
So,
right. But listen,
um,
that stuff starts to matter, man. You get a guy that gets a quick, like if he has 3 in that first half, like you got to play that a different way, knowing that at 5 he's done. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if he's that guy, like, whoo. I remember that always being a
yes,
big deal because we were always extremely physical, and our guy would be like, it depended on the tournament where it would be either halves or quarters. But if it was halves and you got a quick 2, dude, you were on the bench till at least 3 minutes left in the first, or in the first half. You know what I mean? Like, because
yep,
that could screw you the whole way. And now you're different mentality, and this guy's got to go to the 5, and then you're moving guys from here to there and whatnot. And it's like there's a lot that goes into basketball management wise on the fly because you got to do it on the fly. It's not like football where you're
yeah.
gonna get a stoppage after each play. Like, no, it's got to be him in and flowing and doing all this other kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff about like, runs and momentum, right? It can literally change with one bad pass and the excitement level of what goes on. Sometimes you're playing in gyms where there's courts right next to you and there's so many whistles going on and people yelling and all that other stuff. Like,
Well,
there's a
that
lot of
sometimes happens too. Yeah,
there's a lot of
yeah.
distraction in that stuff, man.
A couple times a whistle goes off. I'm like, oh, you got to keep playing,
Yeah,
keep playing.
yeah. You're like, just go. It's tough, man. It's tough. But that's awesome, dude. I'm glad you're doing it. It's fun.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. You know,
It's just like anything, though. A lot of management, a lot of logistics, right? Like, let's be here at this time. Make sure you got all your stuff. And this tournament,
that's
we're playing
easy.
this
I think that
team.
part's easy. That part's easy.
Yeah, but it's easy for you, Dave, because you've always been that person, right? Like for a lot of people, that's the hardest part.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, look at our 7-on-7 tournaments, bro. You're like, buddy, this is the time you play. This is who you're playing, and this is where you're playing. And you could tell them 3,000 times, and they'll still screw it up.
Yeah, that's always hard for me to understand, I guess.
Not everybody's been a high school head coach either. You know what I'm saying? Like those guys don't understand what it's like to run a program.
Well, it's just the staying on top of it, and you kind of have to be a little bit willing to be annoying at times, I guess.
I think too, and even like our head coach, right? Like for the guy that I work for, like right, like overly communicate. You know what I'm saying? Like I would rather over communication as a parent. And look, if you're pissed that you're getting 50 emails, like, okay, would you rather get none and not know what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, I think that aspect of it, especially now with so many, apps or whatever that can be utilized for that. Like,
Yep. There's no doubt. I think that's. There's no doubt. Absolutely. It's definitely I mean, I'm doing the flag thing right now. There's a lot to that as well. Just
the summer league stuff.
Yeah, but what's great? AI is kind of organized most of the team, so I've gotten better at asking the right questions. So I got it where I put in everything. It still takes a couple days, but I'm like, okay, find the requests from my email for these for anybody that matches the registration. It literally goes through my folder that I saved for flag football and finds the requests, matches them up, puts them on the team, and then I gave them other parameters because most of the kids are playing like with their school or a friend request or whatever. So I gave them all the parameters,
I remember
matched
that
it up.
thing. Like there's so
It's
many
about
parameters.
honestly, it's like it's 90% correct. I usually it would take me 3 days just to do it myself manually before. So
Right.
now it gives it to me in like a,
But do
you
you have
know,
to go through and check it to make sure it's right?
yeah. But the good thing is, like, you still have your, so when you have your Google Sheets, right, and you have your tabs, I have the
Right.
main tab, so I could just cross reference the main tab. Okay, all right, that person did request it, dude. It only left off one person out of
What
all the people that went through.
what age levels like is it big? Do we have is there a lot of kids?
It's like the same as last time, like 200
Do
something.
you have every age level with multiple teams, like more than 2 per age division, or is it like, oh, we're gonna,
The only one
you
that
guys are
isn't, I could at 6 have multiple teams, but because of their requests, it's
Oh
too.
my god. I can't believe you even do that.
It's, you know what? It's actually building the league though, because what you get is they can play with their friends. So
Oh
if
my
the
god.
kids at recreation just want to play with their friends, you know what I mean? Like, that's the bottom line. So it's it's kind of built it up like the truth is the 12U, it's almost segregated by each group at their school they go to.
Right.
So
Did
so
the
it's
Rumsey kids come
actually
back?
the Rumsey kid. Yeah, like, so when you get like Rumsey kids come in, like the Rumsey kids come in, they don't have a full unit, so you got to mix them with some people. But
Right.
there's groups that are more than a full unit. Like, people like,
Well, they don't care, like, you know what I mean? Because then it's
they
like,
don't
oh, is it a
care.
flag?
I
Yeah, they
asked,
don't. That's okay. You're like, all right.
and it takes away more of the organization on me, from a standpoint that now, and a lot, well, the hardest part is always getting coaches. So usually
Yeah.
when they organize a team that they want to keep together, or a group of kids they want to keep together, there's usually a
Right.
coach with that group, right?
Yeah, of course.
So it's less like, it's less me like, hey, can someone coach, you know so, because volunteers is the most demanding part of the whole thing. um it's still getting volunteers. Like,
Of course.
literally, most of the same people in town that coach in each age group are the same. It's the same people that help out in over and over and over again, you know what I mean? Like, with a few exceptions, but pretty much it's the same. Let's say there's 10 guys, you know what I mean, that do a lot of the different sports. They may not do every sport, but these 10
But
to
for the
15
most part, they
guys,
do a lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, within an age group, these 10 to 15 guys are coaching this team or that team, or,
Right.
which is great, but, um, and I would say that our town is probably better than most, to be honest. So, like, it's definitely a big sports town, right? So we probably have more people willing to volunteer than, I would say, most places. Like, some places
Agreed.
probably really have a hard time getting volunteers.
No
You know,
doubt. There's no
and that
doubt, bro.
that kind of, I mean, that kind of probably stinks. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
that's miserable, bro.
I can only imagine if you're in these towns where you really have a hard time finding volunteers. You know,
Brutal.
got to be
Brutal.
very, very, very. It's got to be very, very hard. So, but yeah. So I mean, like I said, like, we're pretty lucky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh. So, but I'll have that all up pretty quickly. I think I got it all done here now. So,
Well, it starts soon, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. It's start next week, but I'm just gonna cut and paste it in, and then it'll should have everything in. I'm just trying to name the teams properly, because that's the other part. Because the uniforms will be here on Monday, so I mean, I know the sizes, but it's not always true to what they put in. So I
Well,
have
because
to,
they're
like,
well, that's I mean, I think always that's where you got to tell them, hey, these are tight fit uniforms, right? And then they
I
order
do.
different.
I do.
And there's still that's why you got to have that wiggle room. They'll still screw it up.
You need the wiggle room to like figure it out. But I think I have it. Like sometimes I end up changing. You know, sometimes I change a team once the uniforms
Right.
come in and I sort it, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Like I really don't have enough of this. I got to be careful. You know what I mean? What I do here.
Right.
Even though I have plenty of uniforms per se, it's just it's really just what like I'm looking here like I have to do I still have to do girls teams because I'm trying to figure out the number of uniforms there.
And are they all lumped together again, or are they age broke?
No, there's
like
a 12U and an 8 and 10 are together.
And then they have multiple teams.
Yeah, there's 8 and 10. There's multiple. 12. There's 3, which is fine. I mean, I could actually have 4. I could actually have 4 just because of requests. I really have enough for 4, but like, I move some of these, and it's going to be
right.
committing
Makes sense.
Committing
Yeah,
murders.
I guess. I mean, it's wild.
But remember, it's rec. They, for the most part, as long as they can play,
right?
Everybody's
happy. Yeah.
Yep. Everybody should be happy if at least they can play. So,
sounds
anyway.
good.
All right, man. I'll talk to you
buddy.
later. Great
You
job.
got it. Take
All right,
care.
bye.
See you later.